Today I'm joined by Ben Miller. Ben is the co-owner of Solaris Exterior Cleaning, and they provide expert exterior cleaning services in and around the Southeast. So welcome, Ben.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much for joining us today. And um, Ben, tell us a bit more about Solaris Exterior Cleaning.
Well, in a nutshell, we clean buildings.
Okay.
So everything on the exterior, from the roof all the way down to hard surfaces. Commercially, we cover the whole of the UK. We work with the NHS, housing associations, large facility management companies. Some of our landmark properties, the Treasury Building in London. We look after Stoke Mandeville hospital, and again, other London ones. Domestically, more attributed to the Southeast, but we will go further afield. Clientele tends to be anybody in the public eye, that may be a footballer or somebody from the TV or radio, whatever it may be. So they're our type of clients. But it doesn't stop us there. We do work with other people as well. It's just not, one grade and that's it. So yeah.
Brilliant! Wow, I love that. The HM Treasury Building, and look, I'm not gonna push you, Ben, to disclose the people in the public eye. I'm sure you keep it very much to yourself. But yeah, it must be quite interesting, sort of cleaning these buildings of people in the public eye.
Yeah, every building's different. You get to meet some very interesting people, and the conversations are not always about the job in hand.
Sure.
So it is quite interesting. And when perhaps you don't know the individual, but you know of them through a different source, you think to yourself, "Oh, okay, fine, that's where you're from." And you've been talking to them, for maybe hours and not realizing who they were. So yeah, very good.
And interesting as well. I'm sure it's interesting. I've often found when I've seen people in the public eye, whether it be on television or something, but when you meet them in person, they come across differently as well. They're just generally a normal sort of everyday person. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, look,
Down to earth.
yeah, absolutely. But Ben, I'm always interested to find out, why people went into business, how your business came about. So why did you decide to start your own business?
Well, I've had a couple of businesses in the past. I was in investments, and we had the crash. So I closed that business, and then started a window cleaning business. Had to sell that through divorce, unfortunately. But both of those were a learning curve, and started Solaris Exterior Cleaning with my business partner. We met each other in a previous company that I worked for a year. He'd been there a while. He's kind of a celebrity in our industry. I'm not. So we're a yin and yang. So he's an engineer, and I always say I'm a marketeer.
Right.
So we kind of complement each other, but we're both very driven. And really, at the end of the day, we wanted to, from where we were in that company, we wanted to come out and actually do things in a different way. Maybe we would say the right way, an honest and open way, and build from there. So we wanted to deliver a service that was different to what was in the marketplace at that time.
And I noticed, sort of, looking before this, I looked at, do a bit of research, and you actually mentioned it earlier when I said, look, tell us a bit more about what you do, and you said, well, we clean buildings, and you and your website and your LinkedIn, etc., mentions all of that being open, honest, straightforward, etc. How important do you feel that is as a business owner to have those qualities in a business, those values?
It's key. It's key. As I said, we bared from a company that didn't have those founding concepts, or truths, really. So us moving forward, we found that when we talk to a client and you tell them a negative, and it is negative, and you tell them straight and you explain to them, then it's quite easy for them to then process quickly and then look for a solution. And we've already got the solution for them. So by presenting them with a negative, we also present them with a solution. And it's just, you know, if we're working with a facilities company, they don't want to be told all of the issues that are there. They may want to know what the issues are, but they also want to know that straight away you've got the solutions for those issues, and it's not going to be a problem to them.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of move forward. Really, it's important to be open. It's very important to be honest, because you can always, anybody can have a bad day. Any situation can be bad, but it is only temporary. You know, you can work through things. So yeah.
Yeah, like you know, and I agree with those values, by the way, and that it is important to be open and honest and trustworthy. And the other point that you highlighted there is solution focused as well. It's not about focusing on the problem; it's about focusing on the solution and how you can help your clients, customers by providing them with a solution to their problem.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what would you so how long, by the way, how long have you had this business now?
So we're 4 years old in March.
Really?
So we started out as a two-man team, just me and my business partner, and boy, was it hard. You know, your body. I'm 9 years older than him, and I come home and I felt it. But the difference is that working together, you knew that each one of us was there for each other,
Okay.
and we gave everything at the start, and we still do now. And we kind of set the standard very high. So now we've grown as a company. We're just in the process of taking on more staff. We've got technicians. We've got our own dedicated leaflet drop individual. You know, we've got a small like a marketing consultant that comes on from the side every now and then to help us with websites and so on. But yeah, we're growing, and we actually get approached by people that want to work for us before we actually put the adverts out. So yeah, it's good, very good.
So it sounds like, you know, that element of trust, etc., that you mentioned there, that you want to your clients to look at you and see that you're trustworthy. You've got that obviously stems from the trust that you've got with your business partner as well. You highlighted there that you know, you trust each other and you've got each other's backs, etc.
He was offered when he left the last role he was at, he was offered lots of positions in different companies.
Okay.
And I basically said to him, look, you know, I can give you 0, but I can give you 50% of it, and we'll be back to back, and we'll hit everything head on and deal with it as it comes. And he said, put a bear in the logo. So that's why we got a bear. So that was my easiest sell. Say, okay, fine, I'll put a bear in the logo and you'll come and join us. And that's how the origins of, if you like, Solaris began. So yeah.
Love that. So, okay, so what, over those sort of years that you've grown, so it's 4 years, was it, you said?
4 years, yeah, 4 years.
Yeah, okay. So what's been the biggest challenge that you've faced as a business owner?
I don't want to say competition, but COVID hasn't helped with everybody jumping on the bandwagon thinking they're exterior cleaners.
Okay.
They're not. And the challenge is because our morals are truth and honesty, when we approach a client and they've been told something that is completely left field, and you know, they may have got 3 quotes, and from those 3 quotes, for example, we may be the most expensive, but we've actually highlighted it in a truthful manner, and the other quotes are cheaper and have said all sorts of things. That's difficult sometimes, but when you actually sit down and you explain to the client, that's the easiest thing. So the challenge has been other people that believe they're in our industry, but they're not quite in the same sort of field. There are companies out there that are good, but there are more, unfortunately, that are not. So yeah, they're the difficulties.
And how have you dealt with that challenge so far? Because, you know, you've as you mentioned there, you know, you've got a challenge if you you know, you make a quote, your quote might be you know, slightly more or slightly higher, let's put it that way, because you know you're going to do it right, you're going to do it the right way, etc. How do you help your client to understand when they've got a price in front of them that one's cheaper, one's higher, How do you
Yeah.
help them to understand that you're better value?
It's a case of actually just getting them to look at the quotes,
Okay.
see the substance behind the quotes.
Okay.
When we submit a quote to a client, it's a document. It's a comprehensive document. When it's transferred across to them, it's bespoke for their property at every time. So when they see our quote or survey that comes out to them, and then they see the other company that may have just knocked up something on Word, there is a difference. We had recently we had a client that said that they wanted on their property, they wanted the driveway and the patio and some decking and some oak cleaned further up the property. His quote, he believed that he'd had it done in the past for about £500. Well, we were over the £2,000 bracket.
Yeah.
For the same work, and I explained to him that for £500 it was not us, we weren't his company, and we wished him well.
Yeah.
He came back and he said, no, I actually believe in your ethos, and I really want to work with you guys. When we finished the job, he actually come back to me and said that he couldn't believe the standard that we had got. He didn't even know that the sandstone in his garden was that color. He couldn't see the ferns, the prehistoric ferns in the sandstone. He'd never seen it in the past.
Yeah.
So with that, he's now been our sounding board. He's told all the neighbours, and from that we get the referrals.
Right.
So yeah, but again, we try to give back.
Yeah.
We try to give back to the client as well. So we look after them when it comes to their maintenance. So the industry has this conception that it's a one-hit opportunity with a client, that you sell the one service, i.e. a roof clean, etc. And this is where they go wrong. They actually, these other companies, these ones that don't have the honesty and truth, they'll say, I've cleaned your roof and it's going to be clean for 5 years. Well, it can't be, because the minute you have bird lime, leaf litter and water, you've got the components to start the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So we would actually then sit down with the client and say, well, sign up to maintenance. So we have a subscription service within our business that can continue works on a monthly basis, as well as revisiting that client next year and saying, we've just come to rinse your roof and reapply the killing agent. Is there anything else you'd like us to do? And then they'll say, you can do the patio this time, or the driveway, or whatever it may be. And we have that constant communication and discussion with each of our clients on a.
There's some key things to highlight in there, in terms of that you've mentioned that. I mean, one is obviously, you give great service, and not only do you get more business, or potentially more business, from the person you've given great service to, but they become an advocate, if not a raving fan of your business, and tell everyone else.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I think there to highlight in what you sort of said, Ben, was that actually there's opportunities to do more work with people if you do a great job, by just finding out about their issues, their problems, whatever it is, and then matching your solutions to what it is that they've got. So as you highlighted there, it's not just a one hit, right, we'll do it once, then find another customer, then do theirs once and find another customer. It's about working with the customer and understanding their needs and how
retention, basically customer retention. So you've worked hard to get that one client, keep the client and keep the client happy, and offer them opportunity that they may not have considered.
And if you could wave a magic wand right now and solve one challenge, maybe in that area of competition or pricing, maybe something else, what would it be?
It's a tough question. It would be to try. Well, I suppose you need, and I probably wouldn't change anything. And the reason why I wouldn't change anything is because you do need to have those other companies to highlight how good you are against them, how different we are. Because if we were all the same, then I think that would be more challenging, because then that would, it would be harder. But because we kind of stand out against others, it becomes easier for us. There is a difference to us. It may go down to preference of, if you prefer a Mercedes or a BMW or an Audi or something like that. It comes down to individual choice, but I don't think I would change anything if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Um,
What what
and
what what challenge do you think you're going to experience as you continue growing? What do you anticipate that you think might be a challenge that's coming up in the future for you? Because you mentioned that over the last 4 years your business has been growing, you're taking on more team members, etc.
yeah, I
What
think it's
challenge?
stopping. I
Sorry,
think it's
stopping.
stopping at a level
Right. Okay.
that we were having this conversation, me and my business partner last week, and also one of our team technicians.
Yeah.
The explanation was is that this particular technician has been with us since well, he's been just over a year now.
Uh-huh.
And the understanding has been that the dilution from when we're working, like if you're like an owner operator,
Uh-huh.
um, the dilution of the quality is very high because the owner's there. The minute the owner steps away, it becomes diluted. And then further, as you then bring on more staff. So for us, it's always been key to try and bring in staff members and make them feel that although it's our company, that it's their company as well. That from the benefit that we have, they will also share in. And it was encouraging for us that the technician in question actually came back and said, well, no, if you're not on the job, trust me, it will be done exactly the same way because this is the way it has to be, because this is the expectation, this is the bar, this is the level. And I think for us, we've seen it in others where the challenge is going to be, when do we stop? Do we stop at 3 vans, 4 vans for the exterior and then focus on maybe domestic window cleaning or commercial window cleaning? It's where you go with it, because you can go so big that you can then lose track of the quality, and that's what we don't want to dilute, is the quality in what we do.
Yeah, look, I get that, and I like the fact that you're focusing on that in terms of, yeah, look, we want to maintain that quality, and I think the key thing there is being conscious of it. You don't
Mm.
have to stop at any level at all, but you
Mm.
do have to be conscious when we're continuing to grow, how do we keep that quality through recruiting the right members of team, training the right members of team, having great systems and processes in place that they follow. So it's not that necessarily you get restricted by how far do we want to go. It's the fact, and exactly what you're saying there is be conscious of how you maintain the quality and how
Yeah.
you continue to do that. So that's a great share. Thank you for sharing that. So what would you say your biggest learning has been since you've been in business, Ben?
Every mistake I've made, every mistake. And I think that at different points, I've made some horrendous mistakes. But I wouldn't change that, because those mistakes make me the person I am today. And because of that, I've learned along that pathway. Some have cost me more than others. And yeah, I'd say the mistakes have been the biggest learning curve, really.
And I think the key there is learning from the mistakes, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That actually, yeah, if you make a mistake, learn from it. It's a learning opportunity. I think it was Stephen Bartlett who says, foul fast, foul faster than your competitors.
Yeah.
Because the quicker you foul, the quicker you learn, the quicker you move on to the next level.
Yeah.
When you don't learn from those mistakes, and that's when it's can be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
To repeat those, and any particular thing that stands out, Ben, that you learned from?
Yeah, don't assumption.
Okay.
That's assumption. That's the thing, really. So we have a saying now with me and the team is don't assume, because assuming costs money. So assumption costs money. So with us, you've always got somebody that says, "Oh, we're going to do this. We've got this contract for you," and then you think, "Oh, we've got it," and in your head, you're already thinking of how you're going to process it, what you need to potentially buy for it. You may then jump the gun and start buying for it, and then you realize further down the line, well, we didn't get it. So, and until it's through the door and you've got the purchase order, you've not got anything. So, assumption really is the thing that I think I've learned a lot from that. Don't assume.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing, isn't it? Yeah. And what's the old phrase that said, if you assume, it makes an ass of you and me,
Yeah,
which I think is a great phrase. So yeah, okay, assumption. And look, there's one thing I always like to ask everyone that's kind enough to join me on these discussions, which is this, Ben. What is the biggest advice that you would give to an 18-year-old you?
trust yourself and be
Okay.
more confident.
Okay.
Um, Key really, because I had, as an 18-year-old, low self-esteem. Yeah, also get a haircut because I had really bad hair then. But yeah, no,
We,
so
we all did back then. I mean, I think we're sort of, well, I think I'm a bit older than you, but yeah, we all did back then, had terrible haircuts. Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's just a case of trust your instinct,
Yeah.
and be more confident, because if and then never give up, don't quit, because they're key for me. If everybody says that they've got this problem or that problem, but I just believe everybody has their own mountain to climb in any business or in personal life. And it doesn't mean that mine's bigger than yours or yours is bigger than mine, because it's mine.
Yeah.
So just own it really, and just try and get there.
Yeah. Like that. So yeah, persevere, don't quit, be confident. Um, yeah. And I think the other thing that I picked up from what you said there is, yeah, don't compare yourself to other people.
Mm,
Like as you said there, you know, we've all got things that are personal to us. Don't look at other people, because, and then, by the way, look, this is one of the reasons that I like to have these discussions, because you know, even in business, we look at other businesses and compare ourselves to them,
yeah,
and quite often we're comparing ourselves to the businesses that have been successful, because they're the ones that we see. They're the ones in the public eye. They're the ones, and it looks as though they've immediately been successful. It's amazing how long an overnight success takes.
yeah. It comes down to assumption again.
Yeah.
I was involved in something called a millionaires group,
Okay.
or no, not millionaires group. It was a business owners,
Yeah.
and each of the business involved were very different, but in a similar field, if you like. And one would say, "Oh, I've done this week, and that's made me this, and I've done that this week." And they never tell you the failings; they only ever tell you the positives. So I didn't really want to be. I was put into the group, so I didn't want to participate. So me and my business partner, we were both put in. We actually, I left the group, and he did shortly after. Um, what you can do there is, if you focus on how they're doing it, you don't know how their business was set up. You don't know what model it was used to create it. Your model might be a successful one. You just got to keep going with it and overcome your own hurdles. If you start chopping and changing halfway through, then you're going to become a busy fool, because you'll waste money and your time, which is probably more precious than money, because you've already got to the level that you're at, following their dream instead of your own. And that's really key for me. We try to work with some blinkers. We don't really worry about what's around us. We worry about ourselves, and we focus on what we need to do next. And that's key for us.
And I think that for me, the key is to listen to other people, to find out, what other businesses are doing, why they've been successful, why they feel they've been successful. But the key there that you said is, you don't have to act on it.
Hmm.
Listen to it, take the bits out that are relevant to you and your business, and get rid of the bits that aren't.
Yeah.
There's two foulings that I find in business. One is not listening to other people and business owners, because then you don't get their knowledge and experience. And two is exactly what you said, is acting on everything that somebody else says.
Yeah.
And going, well, that must be true because they've been successful or whatever. No, listen to everyone else, take the bits that work for you, the bits that you like, the bits that are relevant to your business, and action them, and get rid of the rest.
There's always a golden nugget that you can take out of any situation. And you may only take one or a partial, but I don't think that you need to walk into every conversation and think you're going to walk away with the holy grail of answers. I think that it just needs to be, you know, sometimes you may walk away and think, well, you know, excuse me, what was that? You know, what was there? What could I take from that? You know, and other times you walk away and thinking, well, maybe I need to look at that and think about that a little bit more. Um, you know, but again, you've if you're working with people in the same industry, you just need to understand that you know, we did some coaching early on as a business where we went into other companies and we assisted them, we helped their staff, we trained their staff, we helped the owners align their business in a certain manner. And then we realized we were weaponizing our competition against us. So it was a case of, right, we're going to stop that now and come back. And then it's interesting to see how after those brief meetings early on when Solaris was young, that we now look back and think, well, they didn't follow our model and they've gone a completely different way. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, you know, it takes a lot for an individual to say they're going to step into business. It takes courage, and it also takes a strong mind, because if you haven't got those two things, you know, don't set about it, because you'll get knocked down and you need to be able to get back up again. So yeah.
Great advice there. Thank you for sharing that, Ben. So, well, look, Ben, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and sharing more about your business and also your journey as well. So
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Thank you.